everybody, it's Erin Reed, and today we're going to open up this big box and assemble this new organizational unit that I got from Totally Tiffany. It is pretty cool, so without further ado, let's open this up. So what I got from Totally Tiffany was a companion cart. This is a rolling cart that you can use to store a multitude of different things in your crafty space. We're going to assemble it. Main part of our box, we got two basically frameworks, and then we got a bunch of poles that look just like this. On the end of each of the poles is a screw. First step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo one of the screws, and I'm going to place that in. So I got it out. Here we go. I'm having a hard time dropping everything. Place that inside of here, just like that, and then it screws in place. Now, obviously I can't screw this part in place without holding the screwdriver. So that way it holds the screw, and then I can kind of basically twist the two together in opposite directions. And now this one is intact. I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of the other 6 poles that go onto this side, and then I'll butt the other side up and finish on the opposite side. Alright, so I've got all 6 poles put in here. I am now going to go ahead and do the opposite side. I'm going to flip it onto its side, pull off all of these screws here, just like you see. They're all the same. They're all exactly identical, so it doesn't matter which one goes back into where. And I'm going to place in the top portion of my tray, or my cart. Alright, so I've got the base of my cart all set. Everything's screwed in nice and tight. Everything's in there firm. Next thing is to put the little wheels on. This part's actually really easy. You just come in and you just push the little wheels in. Super, super simple. They basically just kind of pressure fit. And the fact that this isn't going to be gravity fed, meaning that there always is going to be some pressure on this cart, it can now roll. Now, with the trolley, you also get all the trays, and they're very, very easy to assemble. If you notice, they slide right in. They can slide back out again, which is fantastic, which means you can lift them and take them away. And look how simple that was, right? So you get 2 flat pieces that fit at the bottom, and again, they're removable. And then you get 1 piece that slides into the top. And then these little pieces all come out as well. So now that I have my cart all assembled, here is my sizzix die cut machine. And talk about perfect. That fits in there just perfectly. I also can put my trays in here, which I might just slide off to the side. Let me grab those. Cutting trays that would fit right in here. I also have a longer cutting tray, which would fit in there as well. And just to show you guys, the handle does stick off to the side, so if that bothers you, then there is a way to detach the handle. But I want to be able to have this ready to go whenever I need it, so therefore I am going to be keeping it just like this. So if I need my die cutting machine, I can roll it off to the side and everything is there. So part of having a craft room is that you're going to be getting new supplies, or you're not using old supplies. So reorganizing your craft room, or finding new places to put things, or your space that you had for that one item is getting too small, which is exactly what happened with my Crafters Workshop paints. I had them in a container. I just got a new stash, got some new colors, got some duplicates of colors. They no longer fit in the container that I had. So guess what? They're going to have a new home here where I can easily find them, easily access them, and I can see the colors really nicely. I actually have more of these particular items, not these big paints, which are all going to go to one side actually, but I have more of the jars that I think I can go get out of a secondary storage, because I had them in 2 different places, which was making my life a nightmare. So now I can store all of this together into one place. Look how easy this is. I have little jars, I have big jars, and I think they can all fit in here wonderfully. So, very simple. I can also, it's kind of heavy now, but that's okay. I think this little guy can take it. And here I go. So now all I need to do is I can pull this out. I can pull out the colors I need to. I actually do need to fit quite a few more of these jars in here to help keep the paints. But look, even these tall paints fit in here beautifully, because that's about the height, the max height I can go on this particular tray. So I absolutely love that. It's a new storage for all of my Crafters Workshop mixed media mediums and paint. All right, so I have a plan for the rest of my container. For this little guy, I'm actually going to be storing this in a different part. I don't want to have it there because I want to have the height. And since I took the height away from the top of my cart, this is going to rest on my desk, which is the perfect place for my brushes. Now, if you notice, my brushes are starting to get a little bit cramped in my jar. So it's a perfect place to relocate them. Now, here's the other cool thing. I like not being able to fill my entire container. I like having empty spaces. Why? Because I'm probably going to get more. So I'm totally cool with the fact that there's going to be some empty spaces in here. And I like that I can kind of organize all my different types of brushes. These are all my Dynasty brushes. They are fabulous. I have a variety of different types. These are all my stenciling brushes that I use when I stencil. And if I have them at my reach, meaning I can just grab them when I need to, I'm more likely to use them more often or think to use them on a project because I see them in front of me, which is kind of the point. So I am just basically rearranging my little brushes here. I have a bunch of faux camel brushes that I picked up. The longer ones are obviously going to be going into the higher sections of my jar. I'm going to try and put them, you know, you can kind of organize them however you want, but I've never really had a good brush organization, and now I do. So here's where I stashed all my other brushes. I have bigger ones that I never actually pulled out because I didn't have space for them. Look at this guy, I love this. So now I finally have a place to put some of my larger brushes now that I'm not constricted to my little jar. So now I've organized all my brushes. I was even able to pull out some other brushes that I had that were just stashed away and I never ever really saw them. And they're really cool. They have some different kinds of tops to them. And now that I can see all these really cool brushes right in front of me, I can grab them when I need them and they will rest right on my desk. And that opens up another space on my cart for something else. So since this is kind of turning into my die cut station, I am going to put my little baby die cutting machine in here as well, along with the plates. I had not really found a good spot for it. I've been kind of kicking around on my desk, kept getting in the way. I kept losing because there's 3 plates that go with it, kept losing those plates. Now they have a nice new home and they could rest right here. So this last tray that's going to fit on here is kind of a miscellaneous tray. It's a miscellaneous tray because it's things that I use a lot. My little stamp blocks, they're going to rest in here. The 2 most common inks that I use, now they're kind of right and handy. Anti-static pads and foam dots. Some little embossing powders. The other thing I'm using this tray for, bone folder, the other tray I'm using this other use for this tray is things that I have that I want to use. Meaning that I just got them, but I haven't quite had a chance to play with them yet. But if they're right here and I see them, because they're going to be in this cart that's going to be near my desk, I'm more likely to pull them out versus if I throw them in a drawer, I'm going to kind of forget about them. So these are things that I want to try out, I want to play with. They're new things I got, and I don't want to forget about them. So this part might also be something that changes up, which is totally cool. Maybe you want to play with a new item, and there's nothing wrong with taking your crafting organization and morphing it. Just because you put it there once doesn't mean it has to stay there for the rest of its life. So now I can pull this little guy out, pop this piece in here, and voila. So now I have my little tray. It's a little hodgepodge of a few different things. Some paints that didn't have a home before, and they might find a different home again. Who knows? I have a hodgepodge of a few different things. I have my small die cutting machine along with supplies that I want to use on a regular basis, of which, because I have nothing in the back, I can also pull items out of the back. And on the top, I have my die cutting machine, my sizzix machine, along with the plates that go with that. And last but not least, I took one of the trays out of here and I'm using it and I'm putting it on my desk, and that's how I stored all of my paintbrushes, which is pretty darn cool. So hopefully you guys have got some inspiration for how to store some of your crafty supplies or your art supplies in your space. And don't forget to check out all the links for where you can find this cool cart. Keep in mind, all of the little organization things, the 2 trays, the 3 pull-out trays, this little guy, which again, you could also use this somewhere else if you wanted to as well, are all accessible on the link, which is down below from Totally Tiffany. And thanks so much, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell button for further notifications, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.